Hi everyone, this is Juliana Avdeeva here, 7:30 in Central Europe. As you can see, I'm back home, so we start our Thursday weekly stream as in our usual time, 7:30 p.m. I hope very much that you all are doing well and that you all keep safe and with good positive energy and spirit. So first of all, thank you so much for tuning in last weekend on Saturday for the stream of Rachmaninoff's second piano concerto with the Wuppertal Symphony Orchestra. Thank you so much for joining this stream. And just for those who did not have a chance to listen to it last weekend, and on coming Saturday, I think it is probably, I forgot which date that will be. Well, I assume it is exactly, that's April the 10th, Saturday again at 7:30 p.m. You will still able to listen to this recording, and it is also available on demand for 22 hours. So if you are living in Asia or in any other time zone, please don't be scared by the time 7:30. The stream, the video will be available for another 22 hours this starting on this Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Central European time. Hi all, hi Alexis, hi Daniel, hi Jaming, Maria, Giovanna, Makiko, Topol. It's great to see you all. And just one more comment, because I saw Keiko was asking whether the distance makes a difference in the sound once playing with orchestra on stage, comparing with before. Of course it does. It's a little bit different feeling, of course, because we sit, while we sit so far away from each other, we cannot hear each other in the same way which we're used to. So actually it's also a question of trust, right? That you trust each other, that you in a way it's like, you know, being on a cloud, that you trust that it will bring you to the right direction. And I think it's actually, of course, for me personally, the sense of music making, especially in a group, is that you are really, you can hear, you can follow perfectly what is happening around, so that you can react. Of course, in this case, it is a little bit just acoustically more challenging, but nevertheless, I think that the positive thing is that as a performer, you are much more sensitive, and you are really, your sensors are more sharpened, that you can literally feel what is happening on stage. Hi Jerome, oh hello to Taiwan, good morning, appreciate that you join us so early. Hi Pascal, hi Jennifer, Jerome, hey Hazel. Oh, I see that you also have, Hazel is saying that winter returned there as well. Well, we had in Munich also kind of snow last 2 days, but I hope it will get better soon. So tonight we are opening the second half of the second book. Yes, because the F sharp major Prelude and Fugue marks indeed the second half of the second book of Well-Tempered Clavier by Bach. And it is indeed a very, well, it's not a very common tonality, not a very common key. Actually, not so many pieces are composed in this key, and I think there is a certain mood, very special color in this tonality, and that's why I thought that today I will start with Bach, in order also to share my thoughts, how I came to this poetry topic or poetic music, asking you and your thoughts about what kind of music you would associate with poetry, and what is poetic music for you. So I think, well, this particular pair is somehow it's also comparing to the first book. It is a completely, the language is already very, very new also to, I mean, it developed. You see this Bach's Bach's development. It's actually quite big pair. The size of the prelude and the fugue, they're quite large, and also in the character, in the idea, they are very unique in a way, and it is somehow very interesting. Also for me, it was interesting to see how Bach uses some, that how much further in his thinking and applying of some forms and dances what we were talking about, that indeed that he let's say he uses the usage of those dances and of those genres is completely different in the second book. And in this prelude it is very but also in the fugue it is really very obvious. So the prelude starts, we have it here. I show you the score. Actually, it can be seen as a saraband in a way, but you see those dotted rhythm, and this is actually in a style and also in the way of writing. It is definitely, it has a relation with the French overture. With the small difference that the French overture is normally written in a alla breve or in a 4/4 bar, and here Bach writes the 3/4, which means actually more saraband-like, more. It's not that brilliant like the French overture. So he combines here already a kind of hidden several messages in this prelude, which I think is really very special. So the thing is that we have, that's how it starts. So actually we have this dotted rhythm. It will appear almost in every bar of the prelude. So it's a kind of constant element in this prelude. But thinking, of course, you know that there is this, let's say, tradition or tradition to perform the double dots in the French overture style, in the French style, and kind of much sharper. So in order to get this grand celebrating character. In this particular prelude I would not exaggerate that, because the mood of the prelude is somehow, it's not, for me it's not that kind of celebrate, it's more lyrical. It's somehow some it's not pastoral for me, but it has this great lyrical moment, this very positive mood, positive character, but without, this great, without sharing it in such a great manner. So I would rather keep those dots, double dots, quite natural, not giving them so much attention. I think what is really important then still to remember that those short notes, that they lead to the long ones, so that it will not, because I sometimes I've noticed this tendency in when I start playing this kind of music, that this short note becomes very important, but still we have this. So that this is really not for me, not in the style of this music. Then we have this beautiful melody. And here we have a new element. Maybe it's a flute, or maybe it's a violin, maybe it's a, I don't know, any other instrument, but it has something very light for me, very uplifting, going up. Maybe also not so real in a way. That's why I am already coming closer to the term poetic, which maybe in a way again for me describes something very, in a very beautiful, very carefully chosen way. This, yeah, this uplifting moment. Then it gets quite dramatic later on. There are many, quite many beautiful modulations here, and it's actually written in a three, in a let's say in a kind of recap form. You have a clear recap here, starting in bar 57, and after a short cadenza, it finishes. You know, again, coming back to this cloud. That's what I mean with cloud, because it somehow you see it and it passes away and then it leaves, and what remains is just this very beautiful feeling, something very what you have enjoyed. The fugue is in three parts and is amazing, starting from the subject, because the subject starts. I show it in the score. The subject starts in the middle of the bar, and with a trill, and with the starting on the 7th degree. So it's actually absolutely amazing that Bach has this courage to start the subject not from the tonic key, but from this very strong statement, and right after that he goes down. So actually it's already a modulation to B major, which is absolutely amazing. It's indeed a great courage which Bach for me shows here. The character of this fugue for me, it reminds me very much on a kind of gavotte. This also actually this start, because gavotte also very often starts in the middle of the bar, so from the third beat of a 4/4 bar. And in a way, in this articulation and in the character, it reminds me very much this very elegant style with. Yeah, I see it clearly like a dance, and interesting is also the counter subject, which Bach. Well, there are two counter subjects here. One is they are both actually coming out from the fugue. So the first one is. So you remember. Somehow this element, this scythe, keeps Bach in a way busy, or it inspires him. But here is a little bit different context. Of course, it's more support. It's not, for me, it's less begging for something, but more support. You know, supporting. And there are beautiful, quite large interludes here, which are built on this element. And you see that we have the thirds, and then we have this. So he's turning the voices. So this is actually an amazing piece of counterpoint which Bach writes here. And again, the mood. It is somehow, I don't know, it's a great combination of like actually elegant dance, but at the same time it has something very very pure, very positive, very sunny. So this is the F sharp major Prelude and Fugue from Book II of Well-Tempered Clavier by Johann Sebastian Bach, which I'm very happy to perform for you now. The F sharp major Prelude and Fugue from Book II, Well-Tempered Clavier by Johann um, Sebastian Bach. And it is indeed, I think, of course, also connected to this key. It is really, it brings, while I was working on it, somehow it was, I was, of course, searching for, not searching, but I was trying to remember, to feel what kind of music also comes to my mind in the connection with this prelude. And of course, I still think that there are some colors which are connected with the certain keys, and how many of you have noticed that this key is very rare. So there are not so many pieces composed in this key, and of course, somehow the pieces which come also to my mind according to this key is, of course, the Chopin barcarolle, and it has this similar, very special color in a way. But of course, also some other composers did compose very special music in this key. Of course, what also always comes to my mind in this, in the connection with the F sharp major, is the middle part of the B minor Liszt sonata, the chorale, which is something absolutely amazing musically. I mean, it is absolute amazing section. I adore anyway. I love the B minor sonata, but this section is really very, makes me always very sensitive. I don't know. Well, so coming to the actually to the question, I see so many. I see your comments about your thoughts about the pieces in F sharp major, and of course, Daniel Scriabin Sonata number 4, absolutely. Yosiuki is saying Scriabin Concerto, Beethoven Opus 78. Alexis, absolutely, there is a Nocturne Opus 15, number 2, as far as I remember, in F sharp major, also very magical moment. So why I was actually thinking about this, because these pieces, also the pieces you are mentioning right now, but also some others we will be talking now about now, they have somehow a very special, for me, very very unique feeling, and I somehow came to the word poetry, or let's say poetic. The description of probably would be the closest description of what I mean. And that's why I was asking your thoughts about the pieces which you feel like the most poetic. And I had so many wonderful, very interesting ideas about, just to name some. Alba was mentioning Schumann Kinderszenen. Lisaula was saying Schubert 960, the deepness and the intensity. Onion 4430 was saying Chopin's Fourth Ballade, an epic poem on its own. Some kind of weird is saying anything Bach, and also Mahler too. So there are very different, of course, different perception of this, but still it was interesting to have also very great ideas like poetic tone of Dvorak, or Gabriel was mentioning Greek lyric pieces. MSI Sitnamor was saying Brahms, their elegance is poetic. Konstantinos mentioning L'Istitut Ricordanza, it's like an endless recitativo. Also, the title completes the feeling of the piece. And you see, there are many, of course, many aspects which we can describe as poetic. To be honest, what I somehow was thinking about, because for most of the pieces of music we are talking about, and you were mentioning, I was also thinking about, they have no literal, no real connection with a piece of literature or a piece of poem or something, but still we connect it with this very special language which we know from the poem. And looking to the description of poem itself, I think a piece of poetry, what makes it so special, it's that the expression of the emotions, of the feelings in a poem, they are expressed in a very, I don't want to say exaggerated, but in a very expressive, very clear, strong manner. So that means that the choice of the words for the poem is extremely important. And it's interesting for me because I started to think what kind of genre do we have in instrumental music which can be related to the poem. And of course, many of, let's say, miniature of the small forms, starting from nocturnes, from the barcarolle, the romance, the later on, of course, with Mendelssohn, Lied ohne Worte. Of course, these are forms which are very clear connected to the genre of poem, to the poetry. And still, I think what amazed me about the music, it is possible to express those very, very strong feelings with tone, with the music, without words. And this expression is so strong that we don't have to speak the language, because of course reading great, especially with poetry, I think it's very, actually, very, I'm not saying frustrating, but sometimes uh, reading even the greatest translations, it's not the same when you read it in the original language. But unfortunately, well, to I I'm not able to speak so many languages as as they exist, so that I can read everything what I would love to read also in poetry. But the music, uh, no words are needed for that. So we understand this very strong, very uh, meaningful expression, and most of them, it's a short, let's say, the idea of those smaller musical forms, like I was mentioning before, the nocturne, the romance, the um, barcarolle, it's the idea of it is actually a short storytelling with a very dramatic narrative, so that something very dramatic is happening there, and the expression is extremely strong. So I was really thinking about the romance by Schumann while working on the F sharp major Prelude and Fugue, because the Schumann Romance, well, basically, of course, for me, the musical expression of Schumann is very unpredictable. It is a great, amazing contrast. Of course, knowing also Schumann's songs which he composed, like Dichterliebe, which is composed on the poems of Heinrich Heine. He was, of course, very strong connected with the word, basically because he himself also was able to write in a very, very amazing manner. Not poetry, but anyway, he was able to express himself also with words. But nevertheless, also Schumann started to create new forms, short forms, small forms, where he was able to bring those extremely strong feelings in a very short period of time. So the Romance, Opus 28, well, he was actually composing them in around 1839. So that was the period where it was clear that that he will get married with Clara, his beloved Clara Wieck, very soon. So it was actually more a positive time in a way in his life. And first he wanted to dedicate the romance to Clara, but finally he decided that this music was not good enough to dedicate it to her. Although Clara was very happy with the romance, especially with the middle one, where she's saying, because it is the one of the most beautiful love duet. And still, Schumann did not dedicate it to her. But however, of course, this is again the expression of his inner life, which we feel very, very strong in this music. And again, coming to the term romance, it's coming from the Spanish epic narrative, epic ballad, and it is the maybe, yeah, this again, this storytelling in a very expressive, very great way of speaking about the emotion which Schumann wanted to express. So romance, in this case, again, without the words, number one is actually an extremely moving, a very emotional, very agitated piece. It starts in the B flat minor. This is the basic tonality, the basic key of this romance, and it has those waves. So we have this. We have always these songs. This is kind of fire or water or whatever, but this is this life. This is this inner life which brings this extreme, strong. I would rather say rather desperate emotion. And suddenly, after this B flat minor part, we have the middle part, which is an F flat major. F sharp major, which is a completely different world. Maybe it's a memory or maybe imagination of another ideal world with light, with the desire, you know, with in a way with a great hope as well. So a big contrast to the dark beginning, very dramatic beginning. So those worlds are in Schumann's music, in my opinion, they're always very close, and they're expressed in a very extreme, direct way. And he, you know, there are very often no transition between those two states of soul, states of mind. So it's this great agitation suddenly becomes a completely, you know, like indeed a completely different expression, and something very very quiet with a great light. So the Romance in B flat major, opus. What is wrong? B flat minor, of course, opus 28 by Schumann, for you now. Romances very, very emotional, really, maybe in a great desperation, in a very burning state of soul. And the second one, in the F sharp major, is a great contrast to this one. It is, I think that Clara indeed described it in a very beautiful way, that it's a love, two persons singing together, and in a way it reminds on the barcarolle. And speaking about the genre, barcarolle is again, in a way, yes, a song of the Venetian gondolier. So it's something on the water, very romantic, very, yeah, full of feeling, full of love. And it's interesting indeed that this romance is also in 6/8 time signature. Of course, it reminds a little bit on the Chopin barcarolle is also written in very similar time signature, but here we have two voices, also in the singing the thirds in the beginning, and then the storytelling. The story is developing, it's getting more dramatic, but it is absolutely amazing piece, I think, really describing this world, this feeling which two human beings feel to each other. E, F sharp major romance by Robert Schumann. Yes, it is. This is this expression in this music which somehow makes all those feelings very, for me, also very understandable. This, I think that you understand what I mean with this expression, and of course Schumann was very much indeed also in other words, like in Kinderszenen, of course, with alone this the Dichter spricht is of course already also a clear sign of his understanding of the poet, of the term poet, or the role of the poet, of the great artist. And now I would like to also to say some words about another genre and another pieces. One of those two pieces of two poems, Opus 32 by Alexander Scriabin, is also in F sharp major. Of course, we were saying that Scriabin basically somehow very much apparently liked this key. It's rather, well, it's of course not possible to ask him anymore why he composed actually quite a couple of pieces in this, also important pieces, of like sonata number 4, also number 5 is in large parts of it are in this key, and I don't know, maybe it has also something to do with this fragility, with this. I feel very much in Scriabin's music, because you know it very often it describes this state of the soul where it's still, you know, it's like also it's still search. It's not a clear state of the soul. So he's like wandering in those very small vibrations, and that makes his music so actually unique and also in a way difficult to perform. So the two poems he composed in 1903, and this is already a kind of let's say middle period of his work. And also here the two poems are in a way they make a great contrast to each other. So the first one, it says Andante cantabile, it's maybe more introvert, yeah, it's more something that looks inside of itself and has two basic elements. But also here, for instance, Scriabin in the first bar he says ben marcato le due voce ma dolce. So it means that also here Scriabin feels or gives us the clear link that we have two main voices here. So the upper voice is and the second voice is doing. So again, we have a kind of two persons talking to each other, singing duet. And again, here it's still no clear tonality here in the beginning, no clear. Yeah, it's in a way it's still a kind of in the air, you know. And the second part of this first poem is, it says inafferrando. Apparently, if some Italians or Italian speaking people are right there with us, is that correct that this word actually does not exist in this form, inafferrando? Well, from what I have read, that Scriabin somehow he invented this term, And what he actually wanted to say with this is that the mood of this section should be kind of elusive, imperceptible, so a kind of mirage. So like indeed in a desert, maybe, you know, those Fata Morgana, who knows? So this is a really absolutely amazing piece in F sharp major, the poem, opus number 1, opus 32 by Scriabin. The F sharp major poem by Alexander Scriabin. Sometimes it feels like Scriabin describes something, let's say an ideal, something what you would like to reach, but you know that it will be never possible. So it's yeah, this kind of kind of desire which will be never fulfilled in a way, but it's never. It is never frustrating. Nevertheless, it describes this, this wish, this goal, this I don't know, very. I think that nothing can be compared with music of Alexander Scriabin, and it indeed requires also from the performer really very special, in my opinion, abilities also to, you know, to switch those very yeah, those emotions in a very quick manner. So the second poem is a great contrast, because it says allegro con eleganza and con fiducia. In this case, apparently with confidence and with faith, with dignity. And it is much more, in a way, much more nervous. That's the opposite of the first poem with a great triplets, with this all again like similar like in the first romance of Schumann, with this burning element. The D major poem, opus 32 by Alexander Scriabin, a piece with amazing expression, with the deepest feeling, and yeah, I think that basically talking about the poetic term in music, that is, of course, a very can be a very long conversation. So maybe we will continue that topic. And I thank you so much for joining tonight. I'm glad to see you all. I hope that you will all have a good rest of the week, and that we will see each other again next Thursday, as usual, 7:30 p.m. So please keep well, stay safe, and subscribe my channel if you like our streams. So see you very soon. See you in a week. Stay well. Bye bye.